Welcome to For the Love of Books, Bees Books Edition, a podcast by North Lanarkshire Libraries.
Hi, this is Pari.
And this is Jennie, and we're here to talk about Bees books.
So, bee is our fabulous bonsai tree, as you know, and this time we're doing something new. We're not a part of the podcast as a whole. We have our own separate segment, which we're excited and a little nervous about, but hopefully it goes okay. We have a little more time to talk, which is great because we can't usually shut up about books. So, can you tell us about Bee, Jennie? Or can you remind us about Bee?
So Bee, as you say, is our fabulous bonsai tree, and she's going to give us a wee theme every couple of weeks, and we're going to try and squeeze some books into that theme. As you probably guessed, we're not doing it the normal way. We're basically choosing books we like and somehow squeezing them in.
That's basically what I'm doing. So currently, at the time that we're recording, we're having an overhaul of our library system, so we can't really look up books that are there in the North Lanarkshire library system. So I'm just using this as an excuse to revisit my favourite books that I've not reread in years.
And do you not love doing that?
Oh, I do, but I don't do it enough.
No.
Because there's so many books out there, and working in a library is terrible.
It's dangerous.
It's like
very dangerous.
My job will be to sort of tidy the shelves, which I'll do, but then I'll find 3 other books that
absolutely.
I desperately need. So it's nice to have that time and space, and like sharing books to you and to people who are listening, if anybody's listening, is a great excuse.
No, I find during lockdown I revisited a lot of books because I wasn't at work, I didn't have access. And I've forgotten some of the books on my shelves. They'd gathered quite a lot of dust. So after I'd dusted them off and reread them, I'd forgotten some of them, how much I enjoyed them the first time. And sometimes when you read a book the second time, you get even more out of it.
Oh, absolutely. And also, like I did that too during the lockdown, because so I didn't reread a lot of books, but I reread my favorite comfort series that has like been my favorite since I was a kid. But reading it now, like as an adult, but also especially as an adult during the pandemic,
absolutely,
it gave me so many different insights. Like just a different way of engaging with the book. It was interesting, but it was like, I keep saying this whenever I revisit like TV shows or whatever that I used to watch as a kid. Earlier I used to be on the kids side, and now I find myself like seeing the adults' point of view. Like, oh no, I've grown up. But anyway, this was a really long roundabout way of coming to the theme. But chatting about books, we're winging it. So the theme that Bee gave us this time is Strange Bedfellows. And the books that we've chosen are, Jennie?
So I have chosen one by my favourite author, who is Frederick Backman, and I have chosen Britt Marie Was Here.
Oh, that's on my list. I'm so excited. I've read another book of his. My grandmother sends her regards and apologizes. Apologizes, one of the two. But I love his writing. The book that I've chosen is one of my favorite books. It's called The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams, and I love this edition of the book. It's the 42nd anniversary edition, and it's been illustrated by Chris Riddle, who's one of my favorite illustrators. He illustrates a lot of children's books, but also political cartoons, and I love him.
It is very pretty, I have to say that.
I'm gonna have you pour over the illustrations later. Maybe we can put up a picture of some of the illustrations online. So, why does your book relate to Strange Bedfellows? I'd love to know.
Okay, so a lot of Frederick Backman books you think they're about one thing, but they're actually about another. And this book is sort of about football, but it's not about football. So this character, Britt Marie, you would have met her in my grandmother sends her apologies. She has her own wee book now.
So this is a sequel.
So it's just her. I will not give too much away, but in the first one, you find out some bits and bobs about her as she goes along. And basically, she decides to leave her husband. She's decided that she wants to change her life. So she leaves where she was. Read the other book, it's really good. And she finds herself in a place called Borg, which for us Star Trek people, we don't think of that as a town, but it is a town. And Britt Marie is she likes things done in a particular way. She likes her cutlery drawer set out a particular way. If a spoon happens to go into the fork section, this is a disaster. And I can kind of relate to that, I must admit. She likes things exactly as they are. So she goes to this town and she manages to get herself a wee job in sort of community centre, and she finds herself suddenly in charge of the boys' football team. She has no interest in football. She doesn't know anything about football. Neither of us probably know anything about football. And as I say, in the background, the story is about the football, but it's also about Britt Marie's journey and how her particular weirdiness kind of helps along the way. And it's just a fabulous book. And Strange Bedfellows, Britt Marie and football, they're the two things that you would never ever put together. But she does a very good job, and yes, it's a wonderful book. I cried because I cry every one of his books at some point. I think I cried at least twice with this one, but in a nice way.
Yeah, no, they're very wholesome, like not wholesome in the traditional sense. I say I've read one book, but the one book I read, it was a very unexpected kind of wholesomeness, and like you, I cry at the drop of a hat. Yes. And so I cried a lot in that book as well. But like when you were talking about Britt Marie, I remembered the character from the book, and yeah, football doesn't seem to be her thing. Although having said that, I'm not a football person really, but the TV show that I keep recommending to you, Ted Lasso, that's what got me into football. Like not really, like fictional version of football, but that's also the same. It's like, and I would recommend it to anybody. So maybe as a companion book to this, it's about the people and the relationships, and the football is sort of like a framework, which even the book that I am recommending, so both of us are not really sci-fi people, like in terms of reading, not watching. We're more fantasy people, I'd say. Yeah. But in this, I think science fiction just provides kind of a framework for him to just be funny. Because he wanted to combine comedy and science fiction. And I think if you like Pratchett, which I know you do, but if anybody who's listening likes Pratchett, they'd like Douglas Adams too, if you've not already encountered him, because it's the same kind of zany. I mean, it's a zany in a different way, but similar kind of vibes, like their the way that they look at the world. And so the Strange Bedfellows theme in my book is basically, so there's a stolen spaceship at the heart of the sort of book. And on this spaceship, there is Arthur Dent, a human. So he is like our everyman, I guess. And he is on the spaceship because the Earth has been destroyed. It was blown up to make way for an intergalactic expressway. So it's the end of the world. This is not a spoiler. It happens in the first 2 or 3 chapters. So not a spoiler.
Did we know that the planet was going to get destroyed?
No, we did not know. He did not know. We enter the story not at the moment, but just before the moment. And the reason that he knows and gets rescued is because there's an alien called Fort Prefect, who has been on Earth, who's been stranded on Earth for the last 15 years, and he sort of realizes that the Earth is going to be destroyed, and he just hitches a ride, which is why the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. But also, the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is like this sort of travel book, I guess, an intergalactic travel book, and he's a researcher for the book. So he'd come to Earth to research Earth, but then got trapped here for 15 years and is friends with Arthur. So I love this tidbit about him, that because he's an alien and he didn't really have much to do in the 15 years here because he'd finished his research and whatever. So he used to like gate-crashing university parties, getting really drunk and making fun of astrophysicists for nothing. And the third character is Zaphod Beeblebrox, who's also an alien. He has 2 heads, 3 hands, and he's kind of unhinged. So he makes things really fun. He's the one who stole the spaceship, and he's just like, he does things he doesn't know why, but it always works out for him, and he's just a fun person to have around. The fourth Strange Bedfellow is Trillian, who is also a human. She sort of left the planet a few years before with Zaphod, and she's really smart. She has a degree in math, she has a degree in astrophysics. So she's the most put together person on this. Everyone else is like, I don't know if I would want to travel with them. Actually, having said that, they're quite fun. So I would. And I think my favorite character is Marvin, the paranoid android. And he is a really depressed robot. And whenever he starts talking to somebody, he's so full of like being depressed and just like everything someone tries to say to him, he's just like, you know, like he just gets everyone down because he's so down. And yeah, I just like, you know, it's so unrelatable to me, I think. So I just find him extremely funny and adorable, even though I don't think he would like being called funny or adorable.
It doesn't sound like he
No,
would.
he wouldn't. But I just like this really, and they were just sort of put together in this spaceship that's, like this really fancy technology, and they've just stolen it or like hitchhiked a ride on it and things. And it's just really funny to see. So this is the first book in a trilogy of 5 books, is how Douglas Adams calls it. He's like, I intended to write a trilogy and then I wrote 5. So it started off as a BBC radio production, so you can also listen to it. But just, yeah, I like how the different characters mesh with each other, and it's really deeply silly. Like that, I don't think I meant like sold that. It's just a really silly book, but sort of science fiction is the framework because they're traveling through space and time. And yeah, so I think...
Do you know, as you said before, neither of us are really into science fiction reading, but that does sound loads of fun.
Yeah. Especially because, like, yeah, I don't really like hard sci-fi. I prefer watching science fiction.
Absolutely.
And because, you know, you can get into it more, it's more accessible, I think, because you're learning about the people and the relationships. In this case, it's just sort of an adventure, like lots of hijinks, and like the people are silly and funny, and like he has such a sort of his linguistic, you know, his wordplay, his linguistic repertoire is so funny that there'll just be a sentence that takes you aback because you were not expecting where it was going, much like Terry Pratchett, I think, which is why similar vibes. You're like, okay, I'm here with you, and like, oh all right, like, and like comedians as well, you know, that's how they get you. But yeah,
is it a proper laugh out loud book, or is it just a chuckle book?
There are, I think, moments of laugh out loud, but lots of chuckle moments. And lots of like characters that you really like just even like sort of throwaway characters that are just there for a couple of chapters maybe.
And does Arthur like being on the spaceship with all these? Does he cope with these weird and wonderful?
He's a very neurotic human being. He is trying to cope, but Trillian, she's a much better coper. Like I said, she's the most put together. He is more like, oh, I just want some tea. I don't know what's going on. Which is how like the others make fun of him, like, oh, just give me some tea, which he's British, so
yeah, tea is important.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just a fun book all around.
That sounds really good. And you said there's 5 altogether.
5 strange yeah. Also there's also like the doors in the of the spaceship, they have like personality chips in them, and they're really aggressively cheerful, like really cheerful. So that could be a 6th bedfellow, but Marvin hates the doors. Like he's always angry and furious because like it's complete opposite of his personality. And the ship's computer, Eddie, has 2 personalities as well. Nice. So I guess the Strange Bedfellows is not a certain number in this spaceship. It keeps changing. But the other books in the series are great fun as well. Like this, it works as a standalone, but I think if you like this book, there's 4 others to look forward to, so it's great fun.
That is good. You do like another book. You know, when you come to that point, you finish the book, you think, I'd like more.
Absolutely. And there's more. Yeah. So who would you recommend your book to? I'd love to know.
So, if you like football, probably don't read it.
Oh.
But if you don't like football, definitely read it.
Oh.
If you are somebody or work with somebody or even just know somebody who likes their cutlery drawer set up particularly, I think Arthur, for example, would probably actually quite, it's a book for you to read.
Yeah.
It's just a book for everybody. I say that about all my books.
Yeah,
but,
that's true. I mean, like, I think, somebody will get something out of it. I would love a crossover sort of universe where Brit Marie is a bedfellow in the spaceship.
Oh, that would be.
To see, just to see, maybe she can teach football, because I remember from the later books in the series, cricket is a part of it. I'm sure she's just as unfamiliar with cricket.
Absolutely, she'd have them all sorted out in no time at all.
Yeah, so like, she'd be sort of, I guess, Trillian's, like, Trillian and she could get the ship together and like do what it is that they want to do. They're not quite sure what it is they want to do.
No.
But yeah, I think Brit Marie would be really an entertaining character for us to read about on...
I think she would get on really well with the robot.
Oh!
Because I think she's not a sad person, a depressed person, but I think she's got those tendencies
Yeah,
that
yeah,
she
yeah.
would probably quite like sitting there moping about just a little bit.
So, who do you think wouldn't pick this book based on the cover?
So the cover I've got just now is a shadow of Brit Marie standing on a football with a broom in her hand. I don't think
I love this cover. I would definitely pick this up based on the cover.
Yes, exactly. That's not the cover that I picked it up for, but then I picked it up for the author rather than the book. And if you do like Frederick Backman, if you've read any of his books, you will love this one because it's just wonderful. Yes, from the cover, it kind of covers most bases actually.
Yeah, because there's like symbols all around that.
There is some cutlery as well.
Yeah.
The cutlery does come across quite a lot in the book. That, you know, it's important.
There's brooms, footballs, disembodied hands, which is a bit like it could go veer into a horror, or maybe they're gloves.
I think they're gloves, but I quite like the idea that you know, that's a whole different book.
Yeah, it's like I said, we're doing a crossover with Douglas Adams. We might as well do it with Stephen King. Why not? So I'm just looking at my notes here because I love this book, but I realized that we need to talk about it. So I have something to read out from, if that's okay. So it comes towards the end of the book. Well, not end-ish, but it doesn't give spoilers or anything. I just wanted to read it out to give a sort of flavor of the kind of madness, the voice, and the sort of, So it's basically, they have come to, at this point in the story, they've come to this planet that's been dead for years, centuries, millions of years, I think. But in this ancient past, this planet was essentially an industry that used to make custom-made planets for others who could afford their services. So it was a luxury industry. Yeah, and now nobody can afford it because everyone's poor. But so like they died out. But this is them just coming to the planet, and they think the planet is dead, so it's completely safe. But is it? So this is just a little extract. Stress and nervous tension are now serious social problems in all parts of the galaxy. And it is in order that this situation should not be in any way exacerbated that the following facts will now be revealed in advance. The planet in question is, in fact, the legendary Magrathea. The deadly missile attack shortly to be launched by an ancient automatic defense system will result merely in the breakage of 3 coffee cups and a mouse cage, the bruising of somebody's upper arm, and the untimely creation and sudden demise of a bowl of petunias and an innocent sperm whale. In order that some sense of mystery should still be preserved, though, no revelation will yet be made concerning whose upper arm sustains the bruise. This fact may safely be made the subject of suspense since it is of no significance whatsoever.
I love it already.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it.
So the whole book is this kind of like, you just don't see where it's going and you're taken by surprise and taken on the ride, and it's really great fun.
I can tell from the style, from even just that short excerpt, that yes, it sounds a bit like a kind of Terry Pratchett, kind of a theme. I would read this now.
Yeah, excellent. And hopefully other people listening would read that as well. So I think we're ready to reveal next week's theme. Yes. So Jenny, do you want to do the honours?
Yep. So B has tasked us with finding some books with the theme of I didn't see that coming.
I was going to do a drum roll. Next time we'll maybe I'll do it now, and next time we're going to coordinate. So hopefully in the next episode we have sound effects ready.
Yes.
That was a terrible drum roll.
I didn't see that coming.
I feel the chills. I feel the chills.
And I feel that as usual, we are not going to go down the sensible, normal route.
No. Do we ever?
No.
But we'd love to have recommendations from anybody who's listening. We're going to share this on social media as well. So if you have books that you didn't see coming, some planet, maybe. Like in this case, the planet, the ancient missiles of a dead planet, they did not see coming. So yeah, I'm really excited to hear what you come up with then.
And me too. I'm quite looking forward to our next one.
Yeah.
And we will see you again.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.